Hello, everybody. So welcome back. We have the part two of these solutions, and today we're going to be looking at these questions involving Pythag, number sets, and exponents. So let's get started with number three, I believe it was. No, three. So this question is looks like a Pythag question right at the start, and I'm going to start that off. You're going to see we're going to hit a little bit of a dead end here. I got 5a squared plus 8a squared. Now, big important thing to remember. That's wrong. You got to put the 5a in brackets and you have to put the 8a in brackets because you're going to square both parts of that. And that's going to equal to the hypotenuse squared, which I'll call c. And that's going to be 25a squared plus 64a squared equals c squared, and that's 89a squared. Now the dumb thing about this is that at this point, I can't work this out because I have too many pieces missing. So you're going to see we're going to have to come back to that. But in the meantime, let's take a look at what we really do have. We were told the area is 180 square centimeters. And so we actually have an equation that we can set up. Base times height divided by 2. Remember, the base and the height are perpendicular, so that's the 5a and the 8a. And they're not like terms. You're not going to add them. You're going to multiply them. So watch how you do that. And that's got to equal to 180. So I'm going to basically take a look at this and say, okay, I'm going to cross multiply. And on the top left, that's going to be 40a squared equals 360. And divide both sides to get the a squared by itself. And that's going to be a squared is equal to 9. Nice value for working out. We can square root both sides. A is equal to 3. Now, that I know the value of a, I can actually figure out the hypotenuse. But you know what? I went into this thing without reading carefully. Let's just make sure what I have to get. The perimeter of triangle ABC. So yes, I am going to have to find the hypotenuse. However, I don't have to do it with the algebra. I can replace in my 3. So 8 times 3 is going to be equal to 24. And 5 times 3 is going to be equal to 15. So I'm basically going to have 15 squared plus 24 squared equals c squared. So no dealing with those other algebra questions, which were going to lead into a bit of a complication. So that's going to be 225, and 24 squared is, darn, 288 doubled, 500 something. Better just double check this on 24 squared. 576. And you're going to add it to the 225, 801. And you're going to get the value of c by square rooting both sides. And you're going to have to round probably. If you have the 801 in your calculator, you go second square root, second answer. Okay, you hit those buttons, 28.30. So actually 301. So basically, I'm going to stop it at 28.3. And for the perimeter, you're going to add 15 plus 24 plus 28.3. You guys can finish that off on your own. Question 4 is dealing with exponents. Now, we haven't touched those for a while, so let's be careful. Step 1 is always get rid of the negatives, okay? And so negative exponents, remember the power is the only thing that's affected by that negative exponent. So when we're working this out, the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite this as 9b squared on the top with a c cubed that moves up and the 4a squared now on the bottom. I'm not going to flip the fraction yet for that division. I'll take care of that later. Try not to do too many things in one step. 3c to the 4 on the top and 2a cubed, and the b to the negative 1 is going to become b to the positive 1 on the bottom. Let's write the 1 there just to be sure. And now I'm going to do the fliporama. 9b squared c cubed over 4a squared times 2a cubed b over 3c to the 4. Now for the cancellation, be careful about this. You want to be too messy, but you also don't want to leave anything behind. So that 3 is going to be left on the top. And when you cancel the 4 and the 2, you're going to be left with a 2 on the bottom. Now those were divisions. When it comes to the exponents here, we subtract. So I got c to the 3 on top and c to the 6 on the bottom. All right. So I'm going to start assembling my answer here. It's going to be 3 over 2. and the c to the 3 on the top and the c to the 6 on the bottom is going to leave me c to the 3 on the bottom, right? The bigger one wins. When I'm looking at the b's, I got a couple of b's on the top, so that's going to be a b to the 3, b to the 1, and b to the 2. And the a cubed on top and the a on the bottom is going to leave me an a squared on top. That's my simplified answer. Okay, so looking at question 10 here, I'll get rid of some mess here. We're going to be trying this right away, and you probably are going to recognize that this is a question we've done before or similar. You might think that you're going to have to find out the hypotenuse of this triangle and then work out the missing side of this large triangle. But remember that triangle ADC is an obtuse triangle, and so we can't use Pythagorean theorem for that. So there's a couple of dead ends that you could try, but I don't want to spend time in the video right now. So let's just talk about the proper strategy. You're going to find out the entire length of BC first, because that right triangle ABC will give it to us, and then we're going to work from that full length and subtract the 18. And then we can work out the rest of this where it asks you to find out other information maybe. So it's going to be 36 squared plus, and I'm going to call this side n, equals 60 squared, right? So I'm using the large triangle. So 36 squared is 1296. N squared equals 3600. I'm going to subtract that on the other side. 3600 minus 1296. And that's going to give me 2304. And you're going to square root both sides. N is approximately equal to, because this isn't going to work evenly. Remember on your calculator, you can go second square root, second answer, okay, if the number's already in the display. And it comes out to a nice value, 48. And so to find out the length of DC, you're going to subtract 48 minus 18 equals 30 centimeters. Now, what does it ask you about this? Rounded with a measure of DC. We're done. Okay. Okay. Next question we're going to do is number 12. Number 12 is one dealing with exponents and negative exponents and stuff. So let's be careful about this and remember that this is really two examples in one. So the first part is to understand what cube root means. Cube root means that you have to uncube it. So something cubed is equal to 27. So the cube root of 27 is going to be 3. Something cubed is equal to x to the negative 9. So inside there must be x to the negative 3, right? So you divide the exponent by 3. And on the bottom, that will be y to the 4. So that's called cube rooting. Square rooting, you chop the exponents in half and you square root the number. Cube rooting, you divide the exponents by 3 and you cube root the numbers. Now the second one, second fraction, is going to be expanding, or at least using the distributive property of the exponent. So it's going to be 9 to the negative 2, x to the positive 8. Now a lot of students think that 9 to the negative 2 means square root. That's not right. It means you're going to square it, but it's going to wind up on the bottom of the fraction. And that y to the negative 4 on the bottom of the fraction, okay, because you multiply the negative 2 times the 2. Here's where you got to be careful, okay? The negative 3 exponent means bring that x to the 3 to the bottom. And the y to the 4 stays on the bottom. And the 3 stays up on top. In the second fraction, that 9 to the negative 2 is going to become 9 to the positive 2 on the bottom. The x to the 8 stays on the top. And the y to the negative 4 is going to go on top as y to the positive 4. So working that a little bit more, that means the top of the fraction is going to be 3x to the 8 y to the 4. And the bottom of the fraction is going to be 9 squared, which I can't cancel that 9 with the 3. I'm going to turn it into just a regular expanded number, and x to the 3 and y to the 4. Notice I line things up so that it's going to be easier for canceling. So the y to the 4s are going to cancel out. The x to the 3 and the x to the 8 is going to leave me with x to the 5 on the top. And 3 over 81, that's going to be 1 over 9. So when the dust settles, it's going to be equal to 1x to the 5 over 9. No, it isn't. 3 into 3 into 81 is 27, child. Okay, and there's your answer. Okay, pause. Question 15 is asking you about the properties of functions, all right? And I made my list over here on the details that you need to know, the properties about the x's and y's. And just remember that x values are domain, increase, decrease, pause, negative. Those are intervals, right? And then the x-intercept is a number. And in the y values, there's the range, and then that's an interval, and the max and the min is a number, okay? And the y-intercept is also called the initial value. So I'm not going to go all through this. You're going to have to review that on your own. But which of the following statements is false? Is the function increasing from 0 to 2? Well, x equals 0, yeah. To x equals 2, yes, it's increasing on that interval. The function is negative over the interval from 4 to 6. Now remember, these are x values. So here's 4 and 6. That one's also okay. The range of the function, now that's the y values, is from negative 2 down here to positive 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, it only goes up to positive 4, so that one's probably not right. And it says the 0 of the function is 4. That's an x value, so that one is right. So your answer is C. Just remember, when you're doing multiple choice, you eliminate, process of elimination for finding the values. As I said, review all of those other details for this question would be pretty good. So now, looking at number 19, it's a similar kind of question, and it does ask you about stuff like domain. So it says here the domain is from negative 2, these are x values, until positive infinity. There should be an arrowhead there, okay, because that would be correct. Range negative 3 to positive 3. Well, that arrowhead keeps going down, so that one is probably, okay, not going to be it. Yeah, it goes up to positive 3, but the negative 3 here is not the lowest point, so let's put a question mark there. And f, the function is negative over the interval from negative 1 to positive 3. No, it isn't, okay? It's negative for this first portion, but not the second portion, so that's definitely wrong. And the maximum of this function is 1. That's not true. The maximum of the function is 3. So that one is incorrect. So which one is correct? 1, 2, and 4. Definitely not 4. Okay. Definitely not 4. Definitely not 4. So only 1. There we go. See how that works with the process of elimination. Okay, hopefully that works for you. Question 20. Yeah, we got to remember about the 3 number sets that we have, right? We got Z, we have which is positive and negative counting numbers. We have N, which is just the positive counting numbers, and we have R, which is all the numbers in between. So just to say, R is what question E, what E? Okay, anyways, yeah, so this would be for reals. So that's not going to be a good answer, and that's not going to be a good answer because we're looking for integers. Now things didn't line up properly here. But the main thing to remember is that the negative 4 and the positive 3 are not included. So looking at where the numbers were supposed to be shown there, you'll see that this would have included the negative 4 and the positive 3 if it lined up properly. So your answer must be B. So looking at question 21, I've got them partially worked out because we are running out of time. So let's take a quick look at what goes on here in question. The first expression is 2x, the second one is 4x squared. You're looking for a pattern. So I think I already see it, but let's double check. I got to start canceling now. So the x5s are going to cancel in this question. The 16 is going to cancel with the 2 times 8 on the bottom. And the 32 over 4 is going to be equal to 8. And notice that x to the negative 2 moved up to the top. So I'm going to wind up with 8x squared, 8x cubed for this question. So you might see the pattern. The next question is a little bit uglier. You got to move those negative exponents. And so that's going to be 3 to the 2 on the bottom, 4 to the 2 on the top. It's going to work out to x squared on the top here and y to the 6 on the bottom, multiplied with 3 squared, x squared, and y to the 6. So lots of canceling that's going to go on here. The y to the 6's are going to cancel. The 3 to the 2's are going to cancel. You're going to wind up with 4 squared x to the 4, which, no surprise, or at least you should have been expecting it, is 16x to the 4. Right, so the numbers are doubling and the exponents are going up by 1. Anyways, I have to stop at the end of this video. You'll have to find out the end yourself.